It looks like the Simpsons are at it again. They say that social media users are sharing scenes from The Simpsons from an episode from 26 years ago right now that they say seems to be linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is from an episode from season 12 that was titled The Computer Wore Menace Shoes that aired in 2000. That was many years before the Epstein scandal was publicly revealed and out in the open. So, a disturbing scene appears that reminds viewers of everything that's going on with this whole scandal. In the episode that was written by John Swartzwelder and directed by Mark Kirkland, the main character, Homer Simpson, creates a website to spread rumors of fake news, and it's called Mr. X. What are the odds of that, too? A site that's very popular that shares news just like X today, formerly Twitter. Again, this was done in 2000. Now, Matt Groening catches a lot of flack for this because it's his show, and yes, he's in the know. He's in the ring of Masons and everything else, but there's other writers, as you can see with this story, that are connected in as well that people need to know about. So, you can see it says attention. Some crazy creeps on an island somewhere are secretly running the world. So, that's pretty close for a lot out there that say, man, that seems to match. And then they go thinking about it, and others say, well, were these gentlemen at the island at any point in time? Did they know, like, what's the background there? Well, I'm not sure you're ever going to get answers for that, but this is what is out there floating around. Wanted to share it with you guys, and I'll cover it more on the next live stream. Join me. Going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Dabu77. Much love.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. News in the gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. This is from Dabu 7. This crazy creeps on the island run the world. Did the Simpsons predict Epstein files? And it's not that they predicted. It's all predictive programming. Okay? As we've been telling you, like these shows like South Park, Family Guy, The Simpsons, Futurama, and not just to name but a few of them, they all are juiced in. Okay? You got to understand that the CIA runs Hollywood, and they set up these lower level luminaries like Matt Groening. You got what's this guy, Trey Parker, the creator of South Park, and they give them insight as to what goes on, because the world is really a stage. It's all scripted at the end of the day to cause controversy. Now, when I say scripted, it doesn't mean that authentic events don't happen. You know, it don't mean that people don't come up missing or judgment, or people are not doing nefarious acts or deeds. But these things are pretty much already, they given an insight on this. You know, like The Simpsons, I believe that they predicted Donald Trump's presidency in the episode going back to like the early 2000s. But it was already written in a script that Trump was going to be the president of the United States. Okay, and they probably gave him the rundown and say, well, look, the whole Epstein shit going to come out. This is how we're going to handle it in order to, because when you go into like the New World Order book by Ralph Emerson, and he goes into Karl Marx. And if you know the history of Marxism is basically witchcraft. Okay, it's basically the idea of having a God above the Heavenly Father, or you being your own God. The shit that Noah Yuval Harari, these are known Marxists. And, you know, they are partaker in witchcraft rituals. So, with that being said, they pick and select men to run the world. And in order to, it's like think tanks, in order to sway the world's population through what they call, what's the name of it? It's the term I'm looking for. It's a PSYOP, psychological operations, which is governed through the CIA via military. They can present you with certain activities or certain world events that is known to shift people's way of thinking to react this way. So this whole thing has been nothing but an experiment. So when they go into the Simpsons and how the Simpsons predict, the Simpsons don't predict shit. Okay, they already into know. They're just putting it in front of your face because this is what they do. They're really making fun of you. They're really making mockery of you people. All right, now they're talking about, of course, this is Epstein. They're talking about Mr. X, and they're equating it with Twitter, now X, by Elon Musk, and basically stating that, well, the Simpsons predicted it. Well, this was already in the cards because these lower level luminaries, or these luminaries on the left hand side, they're warlocks, man. Okay, they have a left hand priesthood, and this is basically their prophets on the left hand side dictating what the future would transpire, because ultimately Esau's whole MO is to equate himself above Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Like the Lord have his prophets on the right hand side, Esau has his prophets, or Satan has his prophets on the left hand side, in the form of Trump, Musk, Macaroni, these luminaries, man. Candace Owens, prophetess, they all juiced in to make it make sense. But it says social media users have been sharing a scene from the popular American citizens, The Simpsons, after noticing a strange similarity between one of his episodes and the case of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his popular island. It says in an episode from season 12 titled The Computer Wore Menace Shoes, which aired in 2000, and I remember that episode, that was a long time ago. It says many years before the Epstein scandal was publicly revealed, but he was doing his dirt then. I mean, this man goes back all the way up into the 80s, man, probably beyond then. But it says here, many years before the Epstein scandal was publicly revealed, a disturbing scene appears that reminds viewers today of Epstein's infamous private island, which linked to child sex abuse scandal. It says in this episode, written by John Schwartzler, and this is basically reiterating what Dabu said, and directed by Mark Kirtland, the main character Homer Simpson creates a website to spread rumors and fake news called Mr. X, just like Elon's X platform, because now X is pretty much thriving on not being censored. So you notice like a lot of soft porn on there, a lot of black women holding themselves, showing them, the body parts and selling them their OnlyFans accounts on through X because it's not censored. Anywhere Keisha can be a hoe, they're giving a green light to be a hoe she's cool with. Anyway, it says, among conspiracy theories, he promotes a pop-up message on his site reads, attention, some crazy creeps on the island are secretly running the world. But, I mean, this was, I won't say it was a known fact among the populace, but the elites had very well insight of what was happening, because even at this time, this was happening, man. Okay, they got Trump's, they got picture with him, DJ, Neuro 47, Clinton, all going back to the 80s, early 90s. They got pictures with these dudes going back before this episode was written. So we just wasn't into know, but these people are already into know. So they just playing games with you people, man. And it says social media, particular on Reddit and X, were quick to share their reaction, ranging from surprise to disbelief. So did the Simpsons predict it, or did he know about it? Of course, they didn't predict it. They knew about it because they're juiced in. A lot of these shows are operated by the CIA, like Matt Groening, the Freemasons. A lot of them niggas be in league with the CIA, man. It is how they get those scripts. CIA got a whole department as to manipulating and writing movies, man. Anybody that studies some type of history of the Illuminati and the world's governments will know that. Okay, now this ain't gonna be a quick lesson. This got a couple of precepts here, but this is the book of Isaiah 47. Because Esau, he has left-hand priests. He have the Chaldees, okay, which when you look up the Chaldees, matter of fact, let's do this real quick. Let's say who are the Chaldees, which we know who they are, but I just want to see what Grok gonna say. Who are the Chaldees or Chaldeans? Okay. So, okay, so in the book of Daniel during a Babylonian exile, the Chaldeans are often referred to specifically to a class of highly educated wise men, your luminaries, right? Astrologers, magicians, advisors in the Babylonian court. Okay, they are the ones who interpret dreams and signs. Daniel, the first chapter. Matter of fact, we can pull that. King Belshazzar is called king of the Chaldeans. It says they are portrayed as influential intellectuals, skilled in astronomy, which astronomy deals with the study of the heavens. Okay, astro, up or project, right? And it says astrology, the divination. Babylon was a major center of learning at the time, right? Because Babylon was a central hub of information and knowledge and wisdom. Okay, so in short, the Chaldeans were ancient Semitic people from southern Mesopotamia. Because I believe the Syrian, was it Assyrian? Or I think Nebuchadnezzar was a Syrian or Assyrian. I forget the history on it from time, but regardless of it, it says they were ancient Semitic people from southern Mesopotamia who rose to dominate Babylon, became synonymous with the Babylonians during the exile period, and were famous for their wisdom and astrology. It says they played a central role in biblical history as both the early homeland of Abraham, which is Ur the Chaldees, and the empire that exiled by the Jews or the Jews. Okay, so that's a little history on that. Was Assyrian. I think he was Assyrian, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta get that on point. I don't want to go off on that. Neo-Babylonian. He was born in South Mesopotamia, likely region belonged to Chaldeans. Neo-Babylonian, Assyrian ruling. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar conquered and controlled much of Syria, as ancient Armenian and Syrian territories like Damascus, Hamath, Carchemish, modern borders. Babylonian, Chaldean heritage who conquered Syria. He was not Syrian. Okay. Anyway, so we got the concept of what the Chaldees were. So, matter of fact, let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of Daniel 1 and 4 real quick. Let's get that. Yep. So this is the book of Daniel 1. And I'm going to start at verses, let's start at 3. And it says, and the king spake unto Aspenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes, children of whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding science, as such as had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they may teach the learning the tongue of the Chaldeans. It says, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, and the end thereof, that they may stand before the king. Okay, but you had Israelites there because Jake was integrated with his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding too, and they knew that. All right. So going back, these TV producers and shit like that, a lot of them, they're just nothing more but the ancient Chaldeans coming back, man. The Babylon, that's just all it is. Okay, so let's go to the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, and start at verses 10. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 10. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it had perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. That's the spirit of Esau, okay, with his left-hand priesthood. All the sorceries and the black magic and the blood magic and rituals that they do is all sorcery, man. I was watching Candace Owens last night, and she was basically going into how this dude Jay-Z was brought up in the Epstein files, and how Nicki Minaj tweeted that your favorite celebrities partake in rituals and magic and all this other shit. We've been telling you that the apostles been going into that over 30 years. Okay? The brothers that come after the apostles, those of us that came in around 2007, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I came in around 2011. We've been warning of these things that whole entire time, man, that these luminaries, they are involved in sorcery, dark magic, man. So this is why Simpsons episodes, Matt Groening, movies, they put all this shit in the script because they already have insight on it, man. It's part of their left-hand practice. Okay, they are trying to emulate the right hand of the Most High by doing wicked shit. And it says, therefore, evil shall come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Yeah, destruction. Okay, your society is crumbling. Your World War III. Okay, you being exposed. This man is being exposed. I mean, the scriptures say before the Lord takes him down, he was going to expose him. And the exposure is here. This whole Epstein shit is everywhere. It's in the news. And you know, the mainstream news, of course, they're going to downplay it. But it's every damn where, man. All right, this dude can't get a break. You know, at the same time, while Trump is defecating on himself. Devil, man. They got a couple of videos of him actually defecating on himself in the middle of speeches and stuff, and the people behind him, they just looking at it like, did this dude really just do this? Like, you know, this dude is a billionaire, and yet they said the nigga eat fast food and meatloaf, and he's on what they call higher ups. He's addicted to like a certain type of drug, like a weight loss drug or something. And on top of that, you know, these elites, they're heavy in the cocaine business, man. They snort a lot of coke. Okay, they call cocaine the coke, they call it a rich man's drug. Them man, look, not Tim Waltz, I mean, yeah, that dude, but JD Vance, Trump, all them Obama, all them niggas be high when they be doing, they be twacked out of their mind, man. To stand up before hundreds of millions of people, they gotta be off something because that's a lot of pressure. And on top of that, the devil can't sleep at night because the Most High is plaguing them with visions, man. But it says, stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou mayest to profit, if so thou mayest prevail. So the Lord is like, look, if your witchcraft is strong enough, then it's going to get you out of the jam, but it ain't strong enough. So this is why they're requiring more sacrifice. Satan is requiring more sacrifice because the enchantments, the spells, they're more frequent and they're weaker because the Most High is dwindling Esau's power. Okay, and it says here, thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers and the stargazers and monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that should come upon thee. Yeah, let your rituals save you from an economic collapse. Let them save you from the missiles destroying your habitation, and let them save you from slavery. Let them save you from exposure, because all the seances that you're throwing up to Satan, you still going down. Okay, the Lord scoffs at your magic, man. The Lord, the one that gave you your power on the left-hand side. It's no different with Pharaoh and the Magi's, man. And it says, and behold, they should be as stubble, and the fire should burn them, and they should not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There should not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before it. But thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth, and they should wander everyone to his quarter, and none shall save thee. So you cook, bro. All right, through. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bow to shoot their arrow, even bitter words. Yeah, we're not the Jews. You know, this whole Palantir shit. Anybody that speak out against the small hats, you're going to get arrested and charged with hate speech and all this other stuff. You're going to be charged as a DT, domestic terrorism. You know, those are all evil words, man. They was like Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein, the effed up stuff that they was saying to about Jake. They were saying all types of evil about Jake, man. And Candace Owens, she know, out of all that knowledge and all that studying she do, you mean to tell me she don't know that we're the real Israelites? Of course she know, but she ain't gonna bring out all that, you know. She was bringing out how that the Israel was established through the Balfour Declaration, through the Rothschild. That's a Rothschild, basically welfare state. They set up Israel in 1947 or 1946, I believe. You know, the state of Israel, which is a welfare state, Palestine, you know. And they set those things up, and the Rothschild financed the whole Balfour Declaration and all this other shit. You mean to tell me that you come across all this information, but you don't know that we the Israelite? You never brought that out in your podcast. And you know why you ain't bring it out? Because you one of them. Because your husband is a small hat. And he's your handler. And he's juiced in with those peoples. So you ain't going to tell us who the real Israelites are. You ain't going to do that. Because you'll come up missing. You know, all the death threats. I don't believe none of that, because our husband is one of them. Nonetheless, she is very entertaining to watch. And she bring out some good facts. She be cooking their ass, man. You know, I'll take her in the kingdom. Shit, I'll take her. A little funny looking ass. But it says here, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter word. It says, they that may shoot in secret are perfect. Suddenly they should shoot it and fear not. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter, and they commune of laying snares privately, and they say, who shall see them? Yeah, they do shit in the dark. That's why all this information is coming out. They're being exposed. It says they search out iniquities and accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, but the Most High should shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly they should be wounded, so they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them should flee away. So when they bring out these episodes about predictive programming, you know, about future events and all this other stuff, that's really their tongue falling upon their own heads. I mean, yeah, you know, in order for rituals to work, they have to put it out in front of the masses, so therefore the spell can work. But at the same time, you're exposing yourself because people are waking up to the fact that, oh yeah, you dudes are behind this shit, you know. But I'm gonna end it. All praises and glory, honor is due to Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you edified to the next lesson. Shalom.